Pandemic school closures are an indictment of America's COVID strategy, the New Republic. The fact that we still don't have the testing capacity we need to ensure kids are safe in schools is the real problem. This is true. Like, anybody who is a parent, got kids in elementary school and high school, knows that we've been in school when COVID cases were low. And we also know that most of the kids in there are not vaccinated. When my kid's class got canned earlier in the semester because of exposure to a kid, they let the vax kid stay. It was my kid and one other. So, like, we know, because that was their rule. If you were vaxxed, you could stay. So, I mean, it's like schools are doing everything they can to keep kids in person in school. And we are doing everything we can to not make that possible. And, you know, we could get mad and blame parents. I think that's a bad strategy. I get mad and blame all these dumb assholes who are running around promoting bullshit treatments, talking down about the vax, and just making it easier for COVID to spread. I mean, they are the people directly responsible for why this is happening. Because if you look, and I should have pulled this polling, but I saw some polling out of New Zealand and Australia. And, you know, it's like over the course of the pandemic. Trust in government, trust in each other, trust in, like, COVID response has all gone up over the course of the pandemic in New Zealand and Australia because they have, you know, done strategic lockdowns. They've made people get the vaccine. They've fought the virus with every ounce of their being. And, of course, they've had far less sickness and death than we have. But it's like, it has inspired confidence in the public, which shows up in public polling. Whereas if you look at American polling on COVID response, we have had the opposite effect. We are less confident in our public sector. We are less confident in each other. We are more polarized. And so it's like all this stuff just goes to feed a lot of the real problems in our country. And so, and using our kids especially in schools is so freaking gross. Like, we know that we need kids in person. We also know that it's largely safe if you take precautions. You know, there is not a great deal of disagreement on that. Where the disagreement comes is, you know, we need teachers to teach them, and we need it to be safe, and we need, you know, we can't do it if people get sick. So I wrote this piece for Oklahoma City Free Press, and really my central thesis is here. I mean, I want to give people, I mean, so for one thing, like, nobody's canceling school until they had to. Like, I mean, that's just, for Ryan, and here's kind of what kicked that off. So Secretary of Education draws fire over school closure comments. Before I get into my response, I should set up what actually happened. So Ryan Walter said, the first reaction should not be to shut schools down. It is last resort. Parents are tired and children suffer when the administrators act out of fear and not in the best interest of kids. I mean, this is just a total bullshit statement. He got drugged horribly for it, but it's just absolutely, totally untrue and out of touch. Like, that was nobody's first choice. Schools have been open all year until this COVID wave broke. Literally right now. So like my reaction comes down to this, to give folks like an idea of context, right? Like, here is the last 10 years of flu seasons, and this is hospitalizations and deaths. So I mean, right off the bat, I mean, deaths never exceed 300 deaths in a year for flu. So I mean, obviously flu is way less deadly than COVID. I mean, like, you know, 40 times less deadly than COVID. But even hospitalizations, I mean, most years it's down around 2,000 or 3,000 for the whole year. The worst year was at 4,800. You know, we're sitting in 2020, 2021 at 38,000 hospitalizations. But anyway, it's orders of magnitude higher, like COVID. So it's like if we're seeing massive COVID cases right now, I mean, you can just look at how COVID's affected us from a hospitalizations and death standpoint and sickness standpoint and know that tons of teachers are going to be out. Like, that's just how it is. So, I mean, once enough of them are out, you can't have school. Like, I mean, there's no there's no mystery here. Like, it's not like schools are just like piecing out because they want to. I mean, like, this is just obviously what happens when you have an out of control pandemic. So anyway, I mean, Ryan Walters is just a disingenuous clown. And so anyway, he gets drugged pretty hard for this. I mean, here's his tweets. Big ratio, like, embarrassing. Call on schools to use all their available resources, administrative staff to cover classes to ensure our students. So I mean, it's like, just give more people COVID, right? I mean, they're not teaching because they have COVID. So his response is like, spread more COVID. Like, just absolutely the dumbest stuff. Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.